welcome back to part 2 of the Dancing Wings Savage Bopper build. I'm going to start very briefly with the fin and rudder and tailplane and elevator. I won't go into a lot of detail because it's a basic construction.
I covered the plan with just a piece of polythene just to stop things sticking to it. These cross pieces, this is very clever. I think it's probably some of these. I'm not 100% sure. Let's try this one. One anyway, if it is. Yeah, okay, there's one. Yeah, put that to one side again. The other components are, it's got a steerable tail wheel which sits into the rudder. So I'll stick that onto that. It goes in there. Before I put that in now, I'm just going to rough it up a little bit to give the metal a little bit of a rougher edge. Okay guys, how's this for being prepared? I've got all the components out. Oh, all bar one by the look of it. I put polythene over the plan to stop things sticking to it. Any old polythene will do, probably. I think it's good to have a little bit of surplus glue on the each join because it's not 100% tight fit. As you can see, I'm putting the pins through the wood on this. That's because it's nice and good width to it. I'll find that one in a minute. Right, part T24 is probably carbon, yeah, it slots into there. I think I'll CA that in because I want a good solid joint. You move it around while it's dry and it won't stick to any particular place. That completes the build of the tailplane. I'm just going to go around and put a little bit more glue in these joints as they harden off a little bit, and then we'll take it off and make a start on the wing. So that completes that. It's coming together okay. Quite pleased with it so far. Good quality wood. Tailplane and elevator made. Put that to one side. And now I'm going to look at the wing. Something to point out straight away is they've only given me one wing, the port wing, to build. Perhaps it doesn't have a starboard wing. You say you've got all those bits left over. Well, it's only got one wing. Anyway, so I'll have to, the rib spacing is going to be exactly the same. It's just that this will be on that end, of course. So a couple of pins just to hold it in place while I find the bits and bobs. What I'm going to do, I'm going to build the reverse wing first. And to do that, I've separated all the components out into the two piles. And I'm going to start with, just let me explain, the wing has sheeting top and bottom, show you on this camera. You've got your basic structure, then you've got sheeting which goes on the top of the wing and underneath the wing, and this produces like a box section, a D section, makes it incredibly strong. And you've got a smaller version of it on the trailing edge. Thing to watch out for, it says here, pay attention to the details. There's a bit of wingtip detail going on there. There's the plywood Mainspar reinforcers that go inside the ribs, and there's also little chunks of balsa wood which go inside the wing where the struts fit. The other thing to watch out for is the wing has to be assembled with the servo tray supports, which are these bits here, and there's cutouts in the ribs for those components, so they have to be assembled at the same time, as you won't get them in afterwards, not without difficulty anyway. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, here's the main spar. I'm going to orientate it the correct way round, and be aware that these two bits, which are labelled W13s, they're the two bits of the main spar. They're not identical. One has a greater angle on it than the other. This is for the wingtip, so that's the top one because it's going to taper down to the wingtip. This is the bottom one. So I'm going to build it like this because I'm going to put the wingtip off this edge to start with. Note the wing ribs: 5, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. All right. W3s are the ones that have the little slots in them for the servo trays. W5 and W1 are extra thick, but they are different shapes because the W1s have got a little bit narrower because they take the leading edge sheeting and root sheeting. So pay attention to the numbers. So what you see in front of you now is I've just dry assembled the wing. Things to point out is where I'm touching it there is the taper for the wingtip. The large taper goes at the top on the main spar. The bottom main spar has got the shallow taper. I'm just tacking it together with CA. Another thing to notice is underneath the main spar I've got little 1/16 of an inch packing pieces. This is to hold the bottom half of the main spar off the building board to enable the two parts of the main spar to join up. If you don't do this, then you're not going to be able to get your sheeting on, and there'll be a gap between the top and bottom main spar. On the screen you'll see I've put the order of the wing ribs. These are reversed, of course, from what's printed on the plan, because I'm building the starboard wing. The plan is the port wing. So when you're building a starboard wing, the wing ribs numbers are reversed. But if you look at them, there's a pair of W4s in the middle, there's a pair of W3s either side. They are specific to those particular parts because they have to hold the servo trays. The back of the rib sits flush with the building board, and the front of the rib is up in the air a little bit. I've also fitted the trailing edge part onto the back of the ribs, holding it in place with the sockets, and same with the front edge. That's just holding itself onto the front of the ribs, and that takes the leading edge when I stick it on the front. So what I'm going to do is just to run in the CA and hold it all together, and then I can complete it with white glue afterwards if it needs it. Most of the ribs fitted quite well, so it's quite a straightforward job just to the other thing worth noting is I have in fact pinned the main spar down to the building board to stop it moving about while I glue things up. It's only 3 or 4 pins going through it at an angle. Just having a bit of trouble there, I think, making sure that's pushed in nice and tight. Okay, let's go back to what I'm saying, shall we? Just go over it in a second. I think that's all of it. The wingtip now, I suppose. Ending first. So the wingtip starts at the top and goes on down. It's that shape. And the top and bottom pieces, W10 was it? Yeah. W9 or W10, whichever one it was, goes on the top and the bottom. Put the top one on, that goes in there. W11 will need to go in before that piece of ply. You won't get it in like that, and then there's a gap for this one to go under the. It's very, very thoughtfully constructed. So let's just pop this in, holding it nice and flat on the inside. And this goes in here, but I say make sure it's up at the back, as you won't be able to get the bit on underneath. So I'll put some CA on that. Bit in there. The trailing edge section could go on the top now. That's this piece here, which turns it into a box section, top and bottom. The thing to bear in mind is there's a hole in each piece. That's the strut support. We only need them in the bottom, but all four pieces have them. Let me just check I've got them in. Yeah, all four pieces have them. Make sure they're the right end, and the right end is the furthest out from the root, closest to the tip in this case. And that's going to go in that rebate all the way along like that. That is beautiful. That's the start of the box section, but before I put it in, I want to try and fit those little blocks, W7s, which go into the wing, which is what you fit the struts into. The other thing to notice, the hole in this is slightly closer to one side than the other. I'm guessing it goes nearer the inside, not too close to the trailing edge. And for that, I'm going to use white glue because it's going to take a little bit of positioning. So okay, so hole on the inside, that butts up to there. Just pop that on there like that. Drop it on and weigh it down. Okay, so we'll let that set off. May as well use white glue on this because it's going to be sitting there while that back edge dries. Okay. Anything else I can do? I can glue these W12s together and then I can glue them in place as a block. What I was just going to do was to stick on the plywood braces each side of the ribs. It's quite important to get these round the right way, otherwise you're not going to get your Mainspar in after you've assembled the wing. Oops. Right, there's no glue on the Mainspar, so I'll let those set off. But from the root rib, we've got W1-1, W2-2, and then finally W3-1, which is the extra thick one, and then W3-2 goes on as the backstop side. Now I'm going to go and damp this piece of balsa, and we'll be able to get it on there nice and easily. Okay, so I've had the piece of balsa wood soaking for about 10 minutes, I suppose. Just going to give it a quick dry just to get the worst of the water off. W19 has no hole in it for the strut and it's slightly wider. It goes on with this little indentation at the root end because that's where your top sheeting fits into it. So it goes into that corner and that goes, half onto that. See, and it curves around quite nicely. So what I'll do, I'll stick this on, lots of pins, and then when it's dry, take it off, sand it flat, and do the other side, and then sand it flat, and then we'll be able to put on the leading edge. So what am I going to use for this? I'm going to use aliphatic resin. Give me time to work. Right, it's just, oh, the other thing you've got to do is remove these pins here, otherwise you'll never get it off the board. You see the weight of it, it's jumped up, but as soon as this is on, I'll transfer some weights to this side. Still got one pin there, that's fine, I'm not using it. What I could do, I suppose, is to put one pin through from the back, like that. Just run the sanding block along there just to take it down to the same angle. Okay, now I'm just going to run my finger along there just to cover any bits that haven't got glue on. Spread it out evenly a bit. Tuck that into that corner. Bring that onto the top there like that. Just going to put a couple of pins through to hold this on the top. Just put one there. This is, I'm going to try and put it where the ribs are because it's so thin right there, you see. If I get it where the rib is, then it's going to hold it down. Don't worry about pinholes, by the way, you won't see them in the final. And just for good measure, I'm going to put a couple of pins halfway up the ribs as well, just to make sure it's not bulging away from the rib. So I'm going to glue that in now. There's no reason why I shouldn't. There is actually, because I've got a pin there. Put that on out. Get it in there. So we can put this bit of sheet in. What are we going to take off there? Just a hair's breadth off that corner. Okay, let's drop that in place. There's nothing else to go in there. So let's put this corner in first. Okay, I'm not worried about it overhanging this edge slightly because I can sand that. It's nice and dry. By the way, this rib at the end goes on the end, but I can't glue it in yet because I need to take it off because it's got to hang down under the thickness of the wing a little bit for the bottom sheeting to go onto it. So that's why it's not on yet. Okay, we'll look at the structure. Before I put the top sheeting on, or the bottom sheeting actually, I want to run some more white glue into the joints. So let's have a look at the wingtip. Goes on there. That little block has to go on back there. I've got the blocks to put in. 2 blocks. They go that corner there. These take the end of the struts. Okay, that goes in there, that goes in there. So where the push rod comes out, goes to the flying surface. Let's reinforce some of these joints. Okay, now I can fit the bottom sheet in this side, but I do need to sand this edge here, although it's not far off being in line contour wise, but it's still not quite there. So Just want to take it down just at the angle of the bottom of the ribs. Same with the back piece. Hole towards the inside, so it's not too close to the edge. Okay. It's a good idea to put it on the flat level surface. Just in case there's any risk of curvature anywhere. Get that one flush with the back there. Okay, and then the front piece goes like that with the notch down that end. That doesn't need to be wetted because it's such a gentle curve. What you can do if you want is just put a few spots of CA along the front to hold it down. Or if you wanted, you could CA the entire front. Might try that actually. Right, drop that on in there. There. Around and CA it. That's my plan. A bit at a time. Last little bit on this side is to put in the infill piece there. There we go. Put that in, white glue. Bit of end grain there, bit of end grain, side grain there. So put in sawdust everywhere. Let's just have a go with the old David plane, as it's called. If you've not seen one, just Google David, the boy's name, and then plane, and you'll see them. Just a razor blade set in them. Alright, and then W17 is that, and that's a perfect fit for the width. It's a good fit, very tight on the wood. So it's just got to cover or flush if you want with that rib, because the ply rib we're putting on the end has the wing section rather handily, so we put it flush with this rib and we can glue that straight on. Bit like that. Round we go. pull it down, nice and hard, and round like that. That'll hold it till it sets. Okay, that's one wing built. The other wing will be exactly the same, but mirror image. Aileron will go in there, and the flap will go next to it. It feels quite heavy, like it's got a peg attached to it or something. Yeah, nice. Okay, build the other wing. Build the other wing exactly the same as this wing, except mirror image, of course, so she's going to end up with two starboard wings. And now when you fit in the undercarriage, you'll see that these little marks here, they have to be, this section needs to be cut out. Okay, front and back. Your guides where to cut, but you leave it as one piece while you glue it into the fuselage. It's clever. So I'm just going to fit the undercarriage now, and I've just come to that and realised what they were for. Well, it's the first mock-up then, guys, with it all assembled. A magical moment. Very magical moment, isn't it? I've spent the last hour getting it ready just to mock up instead of getting on with the model. What a pretty little aeroplane. Lovely. Crack on, guys, build that other wing, and then we're that much closer to the what could be a rather exciting maiden. The next video will be sanding and bits of radio installation, all the little knickknacks at the end, hinging, sanding, all that sort of stuff. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care, and hit the little subscribe button down below. Leave us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Cheers.